Hey everybody, thank you for tuning back in. My name is Mike Hartman of the Ohio Bigfoot Project, Ohio Bigfoot Research and Investigation Center. And now we're going to be getting into part 3. And I didn't intend for it to happen, but part 3 led and turned into a part 4. So I hope y'all enjoy. This will be a relatively quick one. And then we'll go into part 4, which will also be hopefully decently short. Again, the opinions expressed in this video are those simply of myself, Mike Hartman of the Ohio Bigfoot Research and Investigation Center. Okay, everything including wildlife moves at a cycle, including humans. Some of us, we get up, go to work, come home, have dinner, take a shower, watch TV, hang out with the family, go to bed, and then on our days off, we usually, do stuff around the house, or go hiking, or do house chores, or a hobby. So everything has a cycle. Well, wildlife most definitely has a cycle, and it's a very simple cycle. The reason it's simple is because, again, wildlife only has the 4 driving forces: food, water, shelter, and mating. Well, most wildlife doesn't mate year-round, so then its mindset is on those other 3 things. Well, shelter depends on the weather, so really it's food and water. And those are the 2 main driving forces, but the other 2 do come into play during certain times of the year. Thus, you have the cycle. So we're going to jump into that now. And if you remember on the last video, if you watched it, if not, go back and watch part 1, part 2 before watching this one. It'll make a lot more sense to you. But at the end of the last video, I spoke about the mating season of Bigfoot and when I believe it to be, and I said that we would circle back around to some things. Well, now we're circling, so here we go. July, August, September. That's when I believe their mating season to be, because that is the time of year when most sightings happen, meaning they're most active and searching for something. And it's also the one time of the year that produces the most audio recording, meaning they're more vocal during these months than any other time of the year. Mating season of a Bigfoot begins in mid-July and ends in mid-September. Not all females produce yearly, and females do not produce offspring yearly as a whole, so not some of them, not all of them. And infant mortality rates are high. The best way to explain that actually brings the 3 P's together: probability, patterns, and percentages, if you listen to part 1. So when you see a turkey nest, it only has a 3% chance of survival. Out of all turkey nests that hatch, it's literally only 3% of those that hatch. A turkey can store semen for over a month, and they mate by what they call a cloacal kiss. The male turkey has a straw, the female turkey has a straw, and the male and the female line their straws up together, and then the male inseminates the female by pumping into her straw. So that female will lay a nest, and if it gets compromised or habitat changes, the weather changes, she'll abandon that nest and she'll go lay another one. Well, there's no guarantee that's the one, and so she might lay another one. So she'll lay several nests, and some she can actually go back to. But the ones that she sits on, the ones that she deems as her nest, only has a 3% possibility of hatching because of predation. Now, when those chicks hatch, from the time they step out of the egg until the time they can roost in a tree, they only have a 12% survival rate. So from the short window of hatching to be able to take flight, their survival rate is 12%. So if you see a turkey nest, it's a pattern that it's probably not going to survive. Now, if you see baby turkeys, little turkey chicks on the landscape, those chicks only have a 12% chance that their probability that they're going to survive, and that's a pattern. Now, once those chicks can take flight, once they can roost, then their survivability rate jumps all the way up to 70%. It's the same thing with most wildlife animals. Most wildlife newborns get picked off by predators. Most wildlife babies do not survive. Nature is harsh. October, November, December, the great push. The fall feeding frenzy, when wildlife has to feed the heaviest to create fat storage to help survive the lean winter months. But it's also the time of year that a Bigfoot will get pushed out of their normal areas, because it's when hunters enter the most unused spaces of wildlife areas. So the one time of the year when wildlife has to search the most for food to build up their fat storage is when hunters hit the woods. And they distribute and disperse and scare animals around. So Bigfoot might go to places that it wouldn't normally go to get away from humans. January, February, March. The time of year when vegetation is most scarce. Protein poisoning is more likely. Eating fat is more important during this time of the year. When the animal digests food, the digestive process warms up their internals. 2, fat storage means energy. Colder weather is better for hair-covered animals to move around and avoid overheating. Now, if you're familiar with the billboard, when you're cold, they're cold, bring them inside, it is the exact opposite for wildlife. Wildlife does much better in colder weather than it does in hot weather. If you've ever seen a deer walking with snow on its back, it's because their hairs are hollow and they trap heat and make an insulation between the skin and the outer air. Wildlife loves cold weather. They prevail in cold weather. They're built for cold weather. So they love it. It's the hot weather that makes them miserable and that they really don't prefer. But they can build up their fat storage, which also insulates, and they can sleep more, they can travel more because they just don't get that hot, so it's much more comfortable on them. April, May, June, which completes the cycle. Birthing season for most animals. Food and vegetation is coming back, making it easier for females to produce valuable breast milk for feeding newborns. Newborns now have the next 7 months to feed and become healthy to survive the harsh upcoming winter. That's why most wildlife birth in the spring. It gives the offspring time to get muscle build up, get their limbs working, get fat build up, get to where they're starting to wean and eat on their own, and they can survive on their own. A newborn in winter is a death sentence in wildlife. By being born early spring, it gives it the most amount of time to be prepared for what's coming in winter. And that would complete the cycle, the yearly cycle of a Bigfoot. Now, part 3 has turned into part 4, which will be next. And again, the thoughts and ideas and theories expressed in this video are simply those of me, Mike Hartman. I'm not saying it's absolutely what happens. Bigfoot expert. I'm just saying this is what I think happens. This is my personal belief. So tune in for the next one, and I hope you're enjoying these.